Hello and welcome everyone. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes to make sure everyone who's joining today can finish logging into this call. I think we're ready to go. Good evening and welcome to this East West Railway Company online public event for customer experience and railway operations. My name is Claire Keith Anderson and I'm the Community Engagement Manager here at East West Railway Company. We'll start this session with a presentation that will run for around 30 minutes, followed by a 25 to 30 minute Q&A before we wrap up with some next steps. We should be done by the hour. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to the rest of the team. Joining us today, we also have our Customer Services Director, Martin Howard, our Head of Customer Strategy, Martin Phillips, our Head of Operations, Maria Cliff, our Deputy Head of Operations, Chris Cullerton, and our Head of External Affairs, Hannah Staunton. And behind the scenes, we've also got Tom and Hannah helping us. Before we start with the presentation, I'm going to run through a brief housekeeping and Teams Live note. Many of you might be familiar with Teams Live, but just as a reminder, you'll be on mute throughout. You'll find in the bar below the Q&A feature, where my colleague has just posted a message. Please use this feature to ask questions. You can send questions through at any time during the presentation, although we hope the slides already address some of your inquiries. In the Q&A section, we will aim to address the questions you've got so far on the consultation. Any questions that we're not able to address or answer during the session, we'll take away and follow up via email afterwards. Please note that we're recording these sessions and therefore will not reference any names or descriptions directly, even if provided in the question for GDPR reasons. That's all the housekeeping we have. I'd now like to hand over to Maria.
Thank you, Claire, and good evening, everybody. My name is Maria Cliff and I'm Head of Operations for East West Railway Company. And I'm really delighted to be able to talk to you in a little bit more detail tonight about some of the plans that we are making for our railway, but also to say that we're really keen to get your views and listen to the feedback on tonight's call and via your consultation responses. Thanks. So what will we be covering today? Between myself, Martin and Hannah, I'll be giving you an introduction about East West Rail and what we're consulting on. Martin will talk through in a little bit more detail about our approach to customer experience and railway operations. And then we'll move on to how to get involved with Hannah and our next steps. So a little bit more detail about what is East West Rail. So we plan to introduce a new rail link between Oxford and Cambridge. Phase 1 of East West Rail was introduced back in 2016 and that is already running, as I mentioned, between Oxford and Bicester and is operated by Chiltern Railways. And we plan to introduce the railway in 3 stages, which I'll come on to a little bit later. But ultimately, we're here to connect communities along the route and to deliver greater prosperity across the Oxford to Cambridge arc, but we do have our customers and our communities at the core and at the heart of everything that we're doing. So there are several opportunities that our railway will deliver. Not only will it make it quicker and cheaper to get around, so currently between Oxford and Cambridge, the journey can take up to 4 hours, depending on which mode of transport you decide to take. and we are looking at journey times between Oxford and Cambridge in the region of 90 to 95 minutes, so a significant improvement once the railway is up and running. But not just travel times. It's really important to note that we're going to support housing growth along the route, and we also aim to have minimal impact on the communities throughout our consultation and construction and into the operation of our railway. One of the ways that we're aiming to do that is via a net carbon zero railway. And much more than that, so growing businesses, attracting people into the local communities and the wider area through business growth and through jobs, and generally improving the economic prosperity across the arc, outside of London in particular. So I've mentioned our journey times. We aim to absolutely provide a punctual and reliable train service between Oxford and Cambridge and improve those journey times. So we also plan to create modal shift and ease congestion on the roads by encouraging people to use rail to travel between Oxford and Cambridge, but not just that, to connect people north and south as well. So our route crosses several main lines, so we'll provide that really key connectivity for people to travel across the UK, and tackling pollution by attracting people onto rail as well, promoting a more economically viable and environmentally friendly way to travel. And finally, the creation of new and affordable homes. In our consultation document, you'll see that we're proposing various options for stations, particularly between Bletchley and Bedford. And the proposed locations of some of the potential new stations are linked in with upcoming housing developments and new business opportunities. So we really want to make sure that this is a railway that's fit for purpose for the next 100 years. And we're taking that long-term view as we continue to develop and design the solution for East West Rail. Who are we? Well, we've been in existence now for just over 3 years, actually, and we are an arm's length body of the Department for Transport. But ultimately, we're here to integrate the different sections of the project and to push and to challenge the rest of the industry to do things a little bit differently. So you'll see there's a mention of the work that Network Rail and our alliance, the EWR Alliance, which is delivering the Oxford to Bletchley part of the railway, which I'll come on to in a moment. And we're taking the holistic view and taking the long-term approach of what this railway should be like. I'm working back from that to make sure that each of our connection stages is integrated properly with the community. So 3 connection stages. Our first connection stage 1 is due to be delivered by the start of 2025, and that will be 2 services per hour between Oxford and Milton Keynes, so 4 trains per hour in total, 2 in each direction. Our connection stage 2 sees additional services between Bletchley and Bedford, so the service is extended. And then connection stage 3, when we operate the full route, which sees the extension of the Bedford services through to Cambridge, and also some additional trains between Bletchley and Cambridge as well. So up to 6 trains per hour for connection stage 3. But I think just before, it's fine, you can move on, Tom, don't worry. So what have we included in the consultation and what are we really keen to hear your views on? Well, I mean, that's several areas. I think we want your ideas and we want to know what's important to you. So how are you going to use this railway? Is it to get to work? Is it for leisure? Is it for business reasons or education, or just simply to go and see your family and friends? So please share with us why you want to use this railway, as well as what type of experience you want to get and have on your travels on East West Rail. So the documents which are available to download from our website are split into two distinct sections. There's customer experience and railway operations, which we're covering this evening in a little bit more detail. And then the second part of the consultation is in relation to the infrastructure development, and that's broken down into several geographic sections. So you're able to see here on this slide, this is our consultation zone. We have sent to 270,000 residents a summary document in the last few days, which I'm sure many of you may have received if you're in the consultation zone. And from a railway operations and customer experience perspective, we are consulting on these topics route-wide. So right the way through from Oxford to Cambridge, we want to know all about what you need and what you want from this railway. You know, it's our aim to absolutely provide an excellent railway service, but also a great customer experience as well. So you can see here a more detailed breakdown of the geographic areas. So on the left-hand side, our section A, Oxford to Bicester, which does include some potential improvements to the stations and capacity in that area from an infrastructure perspective, so that we can make sure we can deliver the frequency of the services that I've just talked you through. We've got the section on Bletchley and the Marston Vale line, section B, which talks through two potential concepts for stations, including different calling patterns and a variety of slow or fast services. We've got the Bedford area, which does include also some upgrades to Bedford Station itself. Section D includes Clapham Green to the Eversdens and new stations to be built as part of that section of route. Then we move on to section E and section F in terms of our approach to Cambridge and also some opportunities to improve some areas of Cambridge Station. So finally, you know, we at East West Railway Company really want to hear from you. We're acting at the moment as shadow operator, which means that we are doing all of the traditional train operating company activities. But I'll hand over now to Martin to talk a little bit more about our wider customer experience approach. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks, Maria. That's great. So I just want to take a few moments to talk a little bit about our thinking around customer experience and railway operations. And as Maria said, we are taking a holistic approach to this. We do have the opportunity to build lots of feedback from this consultation into how we design our experience going forward. Customer experience is an emotional response, so it's how we how through our experience and what we offer, we make people feel. And through some research we've done already, we have this vision for customers. So it's trusted, simple, intuitive, fresh, and travel for all. So as you can see, we want our customers, when we're running, when we're creating experience, a part of that being trains and the stations, we want our customers to trust us. So we want them to feel that it's simple, intuitive, fresh. And when we say travel and for all, we're taking an end-to-end journey approach, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And we're taking a very inclusive approach, so for all. So when we're considering the customer experience, we do it through the eyes of our customers, and you will be our customers. And at the moment, what we've done is built up a set of personas that reflect some of the ways that customers will use our railway. There'll be first-time users, there'll be occasional users, regular users, and everyday users. And these personas are based on research, but on a route-wide perspective. And we're really hoping that through this consultation, we'll be able to refine actually the customer needs that we're reflecting through these personas and make better design decisions going forward. And we're doing this because we want to build trust with our customers from now all the way through into operations. as Maria said earlier, you know, we're taking a long-term approach to this railway, and we do realise that the customers that we're consulting now in communities and individuals will become our customers, hopefully, in the future. So the customer experience and railway operations part of the consultation focuses on what you, our future customers, want from the experience. And we really want to hear your views, either from individuals or organisations, on what that customer experience would be like for East West Rail, on East West Rail. We're taking an end-to-end journey approach. So whilst we aren't entirely in control of parts of this journey, we can influence, and our intention is to try and integrate as much as possible. As you can see, we're thinking about this from exploring and how I'm going to get from one place to the other, be that Cambridge to Bedford or Oxford to Cambridge, or any number of journeys in between. How customers plan the journey, how to get to the station, what the experience is at the station, what the experience is on the platform, right the way through to actually post-travel and after the journey, and how we gain feedback and build relationships with our customers. So what we're actually asking, well, we want to hear any thoughts about customer experience, but we know already through our research that there's some parts of the journey that are that drive more satisfaction or more dissatisfaction, actually. Now, the train service, we're really interested to hear on what the actual train service should be. And then, really importantly, what station experience should be, what facilities you'd expect, how we can deliver customer information. The actually on-train experience is really important to us, and something that's very important, we know, to customers is how they interact with staff and colleagues. So that's when we talk about colleagues, we don't mean actually just staff at stations or on trains, but if we need to have a helpline or digital support through applications or through the web, what's that interaction? What do customers want that interaction to be like? So, handing over to Hannah, I think. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you so much. And I'd just like to echo Maria and Martin as well and say thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's very good of you to take time out of your schedules to join. So we've had a conversation about, broadly speaking, what the consultation is covering, and then we've gone through some of the specifics that we're looking at in this event, particularly today around railway operations and the customer side of things. What I'm just going to briefly take you through now is how you can get involved as members of the public and people who live and work in the area, and have a real interest in us getting this right, making sure that we build the right infrastructure, and also build out, as is today, the right approach to our customers and our customer engagement and our ongoing view of how we should operate the railway. So there's lots of different ways that you can get involved. We open virtual consultation rooms on Monday, which is a really interesting place where you can go and have a look at in a much more familiar context, in a really interactive context. Go and have a look in the different rooms and see what's in there and really look around. There's loads of documents, there's maps, there's interactive maps that you can zoom in and out of. There's videos, many of which star Maria, and there's loads of fantastic content there that you can have a look at. We are holding online public events, as you know, we're at one. Those are split broadly into events on railway ops and customer, like the event this evening, and then the geographical events split across the piece. We've got 12 of those at the moment, and we're also doing another 12, 10 live chat events. No, 12, it's written down, everything, I missed that. So we're doing 12 live chat events, which are essentially 2-hour sessions where anyone can log on and just ask questions of our experts, who are all going to be on standby. So we've got a very broad range of people on standby. You can also throw questions into live chat when the session isn't live, and as soon as the session goes live, we'll come on and answer them. We've got a dedicated phone line, which you'll see at the bottom there. Everyone in the zone, as Maria said right at the beginning, would have been sent a summary document of the consultation, which is a 20-page summary document, which really outlines the broad activity that we're undertaking, and has lots of different ways that you can contact us, has all of this and more. So do please get involved. Do please get involved with the consultation. Can we pop on to the next slide? Thank you so much. So we're just going to go through the Q&A now. So I believe we've already had a few questions in. I'm going to step back and let our fantastic support team raise with us which questions we are going to go for, if that's all right. So I'll hand over. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Hannah. We've had a number of questions in. I'm first going to go to Martin on a question about car parking and train tickets. So parking at stations, if Cambridge South is my nearest station, how can I park there? And also the train tickets one, can I buy parking and train tickets in one transaction? Martin, can I hand that one to you?
Yeah, of course. The question about parking at the station and buying parking and train ticket in one transaction is actually, it's exactly the type of feedback we're looking for, so that we can start to think about how we make the journey easier, more seamless for all of our customers. So, you know, I think it's a great question. That's the kind of feedback we're looking for through this consultation. Just on the Cambridge South Station, it's actually a Network Rail led project. So I can't really comment on that myself. Maria, would you like to pick that up?
Yeah, sure. I'm more than happy to answer that. So we are working very closely with our Network Rail colleagues in terms of the Cambridge South project to make sure that we are taking an integrated approach and working with them to ensure that the kind of customer experience and operation is consistent. But I think anything specific to Cambridge South can be included as part of the consultation feedback, and we will take that into further discussions with our counterparts at Network Rail. Thank you. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Martin. Maria, I wonder if I can just come to you on the question around traffic modelling and expected passenger numbers as well. Yes. whilst you're already up. Yes, so certainly I think there's a couple of things in terms of how we've modelled passenger numbers and the existing stations that we're going to serve. We use the data published by the Office of Rail and Road, the ORR, and those figures are published on their website, and that's where we've built our passenger numbers for existing stations and journey pairs. The journey pairs that are included as part of our business case and our assessment criteria are a very complex set of numbers and analysis that's done by our team of economists. So I think the best thing to do, Hannah, is to take that question away, and we can get a specialist from our team of economists to reply specifically with a little bit more detail. Absolutely. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, that's excellent. Hannah, can I come to you next for a question we've had around affordable homes, particularly how East West Rail, whether East West Rail have influence over the developments?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no. So the developments are that are planned and will be planned into the future are being planned in concert with the local authorities and other groups like that. So no, we don't have a direct influence, though obviously we know that there are many places where lack of transport would make developments very unwieldy for the local populations, both the existing populations and the new population. You know, there's often places where there just isn't decent transport. what we say when we mean affordable homes is the kind of genuinely affordable homes that the local authorities tell us that is what they are promoting, and that is their preference to build. So we're here really making sure that we're fitting in with the local plans and local aspirations of the local authorities and other groups in the areas, and the planning that they're going through with the homes. I've got Maria waving as well. Hello, Maria.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that, Hannah, just to say that I think it's very much accepted that Oxford and Cambridge are expensive places to live in terms of the wages that are in those areas. And so one of the benefits of East West Rail is allowing people to work in places that are notoriously expensive to buy homes in and commute into them. So, for example, between Camborne and Cambridge, where the journey time will be around 15 minutes, there is a lot of proposed new housing, which by comparison to Cambridge is deemed more affordable. So just an example there. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Maria. That was really helpful.
Thank you, Maria. Then I think the next one that we have was in terms of the journeys, whether they are going to be more local or whether we are looking to optimise the route from Oxford to Cambridge, which would obviously.
If I can just jump in, I think the exact question was, why are we talking about, I think it was probably in reference to a slide at the beginning where we were talking about the journey time between Oxford and Cambridge. Why are we optimising that when fewer people do that as a percentage of the journey? You know, that's right. We do expect this to be a service where people are taking shorter journeys, exactly as Maria was saying. By putting East West Rail into areas like Camborne, it becomes much more commutable, genuinely commutable for many more people. It means that they have a much wider catchment area for jobs, and conversely businesses have a much wider catchment area for people that they can work with, and in that way it really does help the economy, and also obviously a wider catchment area for clients and all sorts of that sort of stuff. So we absolutely understand that there is a big jobs element here, there's a big homes element here. There's days out, there will be people that go between the two at Oxford and Cambridge for sure, but you know, exactly as you've said, you know, 75% of journeys are likely to be much shorter than that. I think, you know, really we use a slide that says this is the journey distance between Oxford and Cambridge because it's indicative of what's happening at shorter distances as well. I mean, I think, you know, we all know how challenging the roads are east to west, you know, through that area at the moment. We know how challenging it is to get a rail anywhere along that route. If you're lucky enough to be a railway near a station, you probably do still have to go south across and then back up again to go east west, and you know, of course driving is an option. Taking the bus is an option. That's often very slow and not as reliable. So I think, just to set your mind at rest, you know, the Oxford to Cambridge timing is used as a proxy, because putting up the full sort of timings would take up several slides and not be as useful, I think, in a general conversation like this. But yes, you're absolutely right. It's a, you know, most journeys will be much shorter than that. I don't know if Maria and Martin, that seems an ideal. I don't know if you've got anything to add to that.
I suppose I'll just add one more thing, Hannah, which is, you know, we have our business case and we have our customer personas, and we've done research into who we think our customers are going to be. But actually, it will be really interesting for us to get the response to this consultation, so we can test some of our assumptions around who we think the people are and who the future customers are that are going to use this railway. So the larger response that we get and the more data that we have available to us will allow us to go back and test some of our or to decide some of our decisions, or make our decisions based on the people that respond to the consultation. So we're making informed decisions based on that information. That's all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Hannah, for jumping in, and that was very useful. The next question I was going to come to is relating to journeys from Camborne to the Cambridge Science Park and how they might work. Chris, is this something you might be able to answer?
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk on that one.
Thank you very much.
Yes, if you're travelling from Cambourne to the Cambridge Science Park, that would require a change at Cambridge Station. The East West Rail line will, however, be serving the biomedical campus just south of Cambridge, just to avoid any confusion between those two. The Science Park is in the north, biomedical campus in the south. That's by Cambridge South Station, and that's the one we'll be planning to call at. Oh, and also there, just further to the answer on Cambridge South earlier on, if people did want to contact Network Rail directly about their project at Cambridge South, you can email cambridgesouth@networkrail.co.uk, and they'll be able to take your views on board there.
Thanks very much, Chris. The next part we've got was I think following on from the journeys conversation that we had previously, and I think what's been said that about the market wanting shorter journeys and designing for longer distances. I think, as the team has already said, that's definitely something to put into your feedback to us. We've also had a couple of technical questions come in, which I think we need to point you towards the route events that will be happening tomorrow, specifically for the information around Cambourne to Cambridge North and the requirement for 4 tracking north of Cambridge, and as well the embankment question. Please do come along to the events tomorrow and Friday, which will provide more information.
Yes, I mean, you know, this event primarily is really to talk through customer service and to talk through railway operations, which is sort of how the railway will look and feel. I mean, I think we're happy to give you direction on the others, but just to say the team of experts we've convened this evening are, you know, their fields tend towards more the operations and customer. That doesn't mean that you can't ask questions. It might be that we need to get back to you on some of the questions if they're on specific areas. If I mean, just broadly on the embankments, and maybe we'll take these away and give more detailed answers yesterday, if that's all right, Hannah and others on the line. You know, the height of embankments really haven't been decided yet. This is something that would happen in the next phase of design, and I think, you know, it's the logic is quite sound in that we haven't yet determined where the alignment would go in that area that people have been talking about, the height of embankments perhaps in the questions. You know, we haven't yet determined where the alignment will go between Bedford and Cambridge, so it's not really possible at the moment to know exactly what interventions would be put in place between Bedford and Cambridge. So I think, you know, the next stage of design is really when the details of that are worked out, once we have a firm idea of where the alignment is going. And exactly as Maria was saying, that's really why we need good feedback in this consultation, because it really does help us move forward and understand what we need to be designing in.
Thank you, Hannah. Thanks for that information. I think you've already touched on this, Hannah, but we've had a further question about homes and how they're being decided in terms of influence on local plans, whether the train line is influencing local plans or whether local plans are influencing the train line. I know you've already spoken briefly on this. I wonder if you just want to.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we're obviously in good touch with local authorities along the whole route, and we would expect all the local authorities along the route to put in submissions to the consultation. We really encourage that, and we really hope they do. Similarly, parish councils and other bodies along the route, we really want them to. Level crossings, there are some quite substantial parts of the consultation that involve very detailed options for various level crossings along the route, because, you know, our view and the view of you know, the Office of Rail and Regulation in the UK, their very strong view is that level crossings are the single biggest catastrophic risk of failure to the UK rail network, and wherever you should go, you know, you should attempt a different solution. It seems really clear East West Rail won't be adding any level crossings in, because you need grade separation between road and rail, really, when you bring new things in. Where we're looking at where we might interact with existing level crossings, we've got some really detailed options in the consultation documents at the moment. So we have had a question about that. If there are specific level crossings you're talking about, please do let us know, and we can talk to you about that, or point you towards the part in the consultation that deals with that. Maria's come on camera. I should probably not talk as much about ops, and we've got the expert here. Go ahead.
No, thanks, Hannah. Just to elaborate a little bit further on level crossings and the question around, are we working with local authorities? As Hannah said, yes, we are, and we understand that a lot of these level crossings actually provide really vital connections within local communities, be it for bridleways, for pedestrians and for cars. And so we are working, as I said, extremely closely with the local authorities to understand both the impact during construction and potential level crossing closures, and then the long-term effects of closing level crossings. So, for example, on the Marston Vale line between Bletchley and Bedford, we have 31 level crossings, and the work that we've done so far suggests that we'll be looking at between 16 to 19 over or under bridges to replace those level crossings, to ensure that those connections across the railway, be it over or under, are still available and still are usable and efficient for the local communities. Thanks.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Hannah. I'll come on to the next question, which is about the business case. Hannah, I think you might be able to just talk to this.
I've got a growling dog at my feet. So the pertinent parts of the business case, which is a sort of an evolving work stream on our side, which is what you do, you narrow down from the outline business case down into the strategic business case. The pertinent parts of that will be in the consultation documents at the moment. The exact publication schedule, I'm very sorry, I don't have that at my fingertips. I can take that away as a question to respond to later. But the research that goes into the business case, the pertinent parts will sort of filtered into the plans and the documents as we move forward.
And sorry, Hannah, I should apologise for I was at your dog barking in the background there. I didn't realise I was still on camera. I'm sorry, the joys of live interaction.
Thank you, Hannah. Whilst you're still there, can I come to you on the question we've had about considerations around extending the railway beyond Cambridge?
Yeah, sure. So, we're very aware that there are various organisations that think extending beyond Cambridge, and indeed extending beyond Oxford at the other end, would be a good idea, including the East West Rail Consortium, which is a consortium of 17 local authorities and business organisations. They have advocated for that extension for a very, very long time. We're not them, and we need to make that very clear. We're not a lobbying organisation. We're the delivery agent for East West Rail, and the remit that we've been given by government is to build a railway between Oxford and Cambridge. But at our core, that is what we've been asked to deliver. Now, we know that there are people that would like to extend at either end, and consequently that means that what we don't want to do is to build something that would preclude that. So we need to be very clear that we're not building anything that would preclude it. But as an organisation, our current remit, which is given by the government, is to build that railway between Oxford and Cambridge. If the remit were to expand, yes, of course, we would be very happy to build the infrastructure that local communities need. But at present, absolutely, Oxford to Cambridge is our focus.
Thanks very much, Hannah. In terms of the other questions that have just come in, I know that somebody hasn't received anything in the post. I think Claire's, when she closes, will just ask anybody who hasn't received anything to get in contact with us so that we can chase up the reason why that's not happened. And I think we've already covered the business case question as far as we can. So I
can jump in and see that we've had someone ask a question about North versus South. And I would definitely point people towards Appendix F of the technical document, which really lays out and for anyone on the call, sorry, just to outline what that is. there has been a question. There are some people that would prefer the approach between, say, Cambourne and Cambridge to loop up and come in from Cambridge from the north rather than loop down into the south. Now, we've done a lot of work, as you would hope and as you would expect, and we still feel that the southern approach has far-reaching benefits. It requires the potential loss of far fewer residential properties, for example, is a key one. Operationally, it's actually much easier.
I think Hannah is having some technical difficulties.
Which
is outlined in appendix
again. Yeah.
Is outlined in appendix F of the consultation document. So I definitely urge anyone that's got questions around that approach question to have a look at appendix F. And I think we're also going to publish some more information on that on the website. It's the same. Well, it's the same information, but it's perhaps put in a just to pull out those pertinent bits and put them in a single document. But yes, appendix F in the technical report.
Thanks very much, Hannah. I think you had some technical difficulties during that
I'm so sorry.
But I think the appendix F was the key part. I'm just going to give it. I think we've covered all of the questions so far that have come in. So I just give people a minute to see if there's any further ones in relation to customer experience and. So, Chris, I might come back to you on the on a question that we've just had come in about the biomedical campus versus the science park in Cambridge.
So I think, I'll jump in on that actually. So the precise question you've had in is the biomedical campus sort of considered more important than the science park? I don't think it's that, and I don't think that's really a judgment call for us either. As I say, we sort of fit into a wide scheme of local plans and support and conversations across the piece. I think just the point Chris was trying to make before was just a point of clarity, which is that the proposals that we've got at the moment do all go to the southern rather than the northern swing. But as I say, there's outlined in Appendix F that kind of explains that. I would also say that there are financial documents have also been published on the website. You'll find those in the document library. So please do have a look for those. We've had another question around the financial documents for that section as well. So do have a look in the document library where you'll find those documents. So that's the document library on our website, eastwestrail.co.uk.
Thank you, Hannah. I think we've covered the all of the questions that we can do in today's session. So at this point, I will hand back over to the team to finish the presentation.
Lovely. Well, I think that's me again, really, just to wrap up, to say thank you very much for attending. It's been very helpful, and I think what we would really like is for feedback. I think some of the things that are coming through on the question chat bar are arguably more feedback than question, and the really important thing there is to make sure that we get that feedback coming into the consultation. This is a consultation. This is us coming out to ask people views. This is a preferred route alignment. We're going to go to that's what we're looking for, is to get our preferred option together. So and to do that, we really do want to understand what people living, working and visiting the area want and think. So please do go to our website to find the feedback form. There is a feedback form you can type in directly. You can download it. You can phone us and ask for a paper copy. You can write to us at Free Post East West Rail. We'll send you copies through that. You can phone us any way you want to get a feedback form. Please do, and please make sure that we get that and that it comes through to us. You can send that through to consultation@eastwestrail.co.uk, or you can send that through to contact@eastwestrail.co.uk. my team is the team that deals with all of this. We read absolutely everything coming in, and every single response that we get is logged, it's assessed, and all of that feedback is pulled together and will be pulled together into a report that will get published. So you will get to see all of the different points that have been raised by members of the public and stakeholders. The key thing is, please make sure that that form is filled out and make sure you put down exactly what you think about the various options, as much as you possibly can, and make sure that we get that before the 9th of June. That's the end of the consultation, so make sure that we get all of that information in before the 9th of June. We are going to have more sessions as we move forward, obviously. So we've got several sessions, as we talked about before, around the geographical points that Maria talked about earlier on with the map, those sort of 6 geographical areas where we've got distinct infrastructure interventions going on. We've got another event to talk about railway ops and the customer. I would urge you to join those as well, ask the questions. If questions come up that we can't answer, we will absolutely get back to you. And if you've got thoughts or questions or clarifications that you want to make in the meantime, please do email us. But if you take one thing away from this, I would say please just make sure that you are using that feedback form and that you're encouraging other people to do the same. So I think it just leaves me now to say thank you very much again for joining us this evening and for the questions that you raised. That's been incredibly helpful, and we'll go away and consider those more. We definitely hope to see you at future events. I thank all my colleagues as well for joining us, and so thank you very much.